I just got back from a transatlantic cruise on Cunard Cruise Line's Queen Mary 2. It was my first time with Cunard and my first time on the Queen Mary 2. Today I'm going to walk you through our week. We're going to take a good look around the ship and all of the different areas to explore. We're going to look at the dress code, the food, the entertainment, the activities and enrichment lectures, the cabins, the secret elevator, and all of those different things. I'm going to give you an idea what it's like to cruise on the Queen Mary 2, and we're going to take a look at the weather and how that played into our transatlantic week. If you have thought about cruising a transatlantic on the Queen Mary 2, please stay tuned because we're going to cover it all. So, let's get started. We began our cruise by flying in the night before to New York City. We stayed at the Renaissance New York Midtown Hotel, and there is a review and some information about that hotel already on my channel. We spent the day exploring the city. In the evening, we went to a Broadway show. We saw Back to the Future, and if you have not seen this show, I highly recommend it. We loved it. It was a wonderful way to kick off the cruise that we had been planning for months and months. We had a wonderful night in the city, and in the morning, it was about a 30-minute cab ride over to the pier. Before I go much further, let me just clarify, in case you don't know, the Queen Mary 2 is not a traditional cruise ship, even though I'm going to call it a ship throughout the video and I may refer to it as a cruise ship. It is actually an ocean liner. And I will get more into that later about the difference and why that matters on a transatlantic crossing. But in any case, we boarded the ship as a group at 1 o'clock and we were so excited. I was traveling with several family members, and for some of them, it was a bucket list item to cruise the Queen Mary 2 on a transatlantic. I had some misgivings booking the Queen Mary 2 because I just wasn't sure this was a good choice for me. When we boarded the ship, I was taken in immediately by the elegance, the beauty. I had never seen a ship quite like the Queen Mary, and it didn't take long to realize that she was very different in a very wonderful way. When we boarded on deck 3, and immediately we were overlooking the lobby. This is called the Grand Lobby, and it is beautiful. It is a very small area compared to some atriums in some ships, but it is gorgeous. One of the neat things about the lobby, aside from the amazing red carpet staircase, is that there is a huge table in the middle with fresh flowers. These flowers were changed about every 2 days during both of our cruises. They were gorgeous. We sailed away from New York around 4 o'clock that afternoon. It was a magnificent sail away. I had never cruised out of New York City before. It was wonderful and we had perfect weather. We got to see the city, all of the ships and boats in the water, and of course, the Statue of Liberty. All of us in my family group had a balcony cabin. I had what is called a sheltered balcony on deck 4. This turned out to be a great room and a great location. Although I did not ask for midship, I was pretty much midship and I was on port side. I found the room to be very clean and comfortable. It was far more modern than I thought. And as you will see in the video, I was able to record all kinds of sunsets, sunrises, lots of different weather. It was a great room and I definitely recommend it. We explored the ship, which I will show you more of in a minute, and that evening we went to the Britannia Club restaurant for dinner. We had early seating and we were on the second deck. We had a beautiful table, a lovely view, and wonderful wait staff. The whole evening went by in a blur because we were pretty tired. We ran all over the ship exploring. We did go into all of the shops once we were underway and check them out. They were all very high-end shops we weren't especially interested in. We did enjoy this shop here. It was a lot of basic things like clothing, some toiletries, little bags. You could buy some candy and snacks here. I picked up this adorable bear and he came home with me. was so much more than I expected. I expected an old school ship that might be just a little boring, a little quiet. She was anything but. The Queen Mary 2 is elegant, beautiful, very classy, old school, yes, but just so dignified, so fun to be aboard. We passed the first few days enjoying the wonderful weather outside and exploring the ship. The Queen Mary 2 has the largest library at sea. Make sure you go by and visit. If you'd like to buy a book, there's a small bookstore right next to the library if you want to grab a paperback or maybe a word search or crossword book. One of the things we wanted to do the most on the Queen Mary 2 was go to the Queen's room for formal tea. It's a wonderful affair, definitely worth seeing at least once. In the beginning of the tea, the waiters all come out with their white gloves. There's a lot of clapping. They roll the carts around, they serve the food, they pour the tea. Champagne is available. They have sandwiches, scones, desserts. A really lovely tea, and you could easily fill up here and not have any room left for dinner. Now, tea is available all over the ship in the afternoon. You do not have to come to formal tea. You can get yourself your own tea in the Corinthian Lounge. There's also tea available in the King's Court buffet at this time, and you can also have room service tea. Although at home I never make myself afternoon tea, we definitely had afternoon tea on every single day of our cruise, and we loved it. One of the fun things to do during those first couple of days at sea was to go whale watching. Deck 7 has a walking trail that wraps all the way around the ship. I'll show you more of that in a minute. And the first couple of days I saw whales fairly often. We enjoyed the good weather while we had it and just chugged along across the Atlantic at high speeds. We also enjoyed the beautiful sunsets we had those first 2 nights. This seems like a good time to tell you that if you have never taken a transatlantic before, you do need to be prepared for all kinds of different weather, and you do need to be prepared for lots of wind on the upper decks. Days 3 through 5 brought a dramatic change in the weather. We had 3 days of fog, and I mean lots and lots of fog. This did not bother us in the least because there is so much to do inside the ship. And of course we had each other for company. We had brought books and knitting and all kinds of things to do. But I'm going to show you in a minute how we passed the time and all of the different activities you can look forward to on the Queen Mary 2. One thing we got addicted to very quickly was room service breakfast. This was a terrific way to start our day, no matter the weather, no matter the plans. Now, we did have some mornings where we started our day in the King's Court buffet. This is a large buffet, very spread out. There are a lot of tables to be had here, and some of them have lovely seating next to a window. I found the food here to be pretty standard. It was okay, nothing special, nothing terrible. Lots of choices, which I appreciated. Now, one of our favorite things to do during the day was to visit the Corinthian Lounge. This was by far our favorite spot, and we spent most of our days here. It is a beautiful, wonderful place to be. There's trivia here throughout the day. There's live music sometimes throughout the day as well, and they do serve tea here in the afternoons. It's a self-serve tea, and we enjoyed it more than the formal tea. And now I'm going to get into what there was to do day after day on this transatlantic. There were so many things offered. There was a lot to choose from here. We had movies available throughout the week, and they mixed the movies up. There were social gatherings planned for different groups, such as young adults or solo travelers. The casino was available almost all the time, and they did have some organized tournaments in there from time to time. Dancing was available every single day. Sometimes it was recorded ballroom music, but in the evening it was always live music, and dance lessons were available as well. There was a great fitness center on board. You could always go work out. You could also take fitness classes here, Zumba, stretching, boot camp, all of those kinds of things. They also offered bridge lessons every day, and in the afternoon they had bridge tournaments. You could go explore the ship. You could find all kinds of different lounges to relax in, have a drink. There were some sporting events on TV in the Golden Lion. Sir Samuel's had specialty coffees and different snacks we like to go have. We loved this chocolate cake. It was our favorite thing. You could explore the artwork around the ship. They have beautiful murals you can go see and check out and take pictures. If you do go explore the murals, make sure you find the hidden Homer Simpson in one of them. There were sporting activities offered as well. We had a ping pong tournament. There were shuffleboard tournaments. There were different sporting events on the deck. You could always go down here to the history area near the bottom of the ship and explore the different photos and read all of the different information about the history of Cunard. There were puzzle tables available and games. You could always visit the spa for a massage or a facial. They also had a hair salon. We also had enrichment lectures available to us. We had a forensic scientist. We had an astronomer talking about gathering asteroids. We heard about the Big Bang Theory. We also had a presentation from a movie producer. We also had watercolor classes available to us, so there were a lot of things along those lines to go see every day as well. And of course, we had entertainment in the evenings. We had a different show every night. We weren't allowed to video any of the shows, so I don't have material to show you. We had a comedian. We had several individual singers. We also enjoyed 2 performances from the theater company aboard the ship. They performed Broadway caliber shows, lots of singing, lots of dancing. They were amazing. We discovered the secret elevator and the observation deck. This was a lot of fun, even in bad weather. I've never seen an outdoor elevator on a cruise ship before, and we enjoyed this very much. The last 2 days of our cruise, the sun returned and we enjoyed being outside once again. The last day or 2 of our cruise, we were in some very populated shipping lanes, so we got to watch all kinds of different ships come and go on the horizon. We also got a return of our beautiful sunrises and sunsets. We did all of the final things that we wanted to do on our cruise and got ready for it to come to an end. Now, in full disclosure, we did stay on the ship 1 more week and do a cruise around Norway. If you are looking for a video that goes into much more detail about the Queen Mary 2, about the food, the activities, the ship itself, I will be putting out a ship review soon on my channel, so look for that to come. If you are planning a transatlantic on the Queen Mary 2 for the first time and you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments, and if I can answer, I will. Now, I did not take the time in this particular video to talk about the food very much. That will be coming in more detail in my ship review. Let me just say we loved the food in the main dining room. We ate in the Britannia Club dining room on deck 2. Everything we had, we really enjoyed. Now, as promised, I'm going to quickly talk about the difference between the Queen Mary 2 and a standard cruise ship. The Queen Mary 2 is an ocean liner, not a cruise ship. The ocean liner is built to transport passengers between continents and to cross the ocean at a faster speed than a standard cruise ship. An ocean liner also rests lower in the water, which makes it more capable of withstanding heavy weather and rough sea. They do have more stability in general than a general cruise ship, and I will say that even though we were crossing the Atlantic in different weather, we rarely felt the ship moving. So there we were in Southampton, England. After 8 nights at sea and crossing the entire ocean, there we were. We were excited to see land again and get out and explore the port, but we also felt extremely fortunate to be able to stay on the Queen Mary 2 1 more week, to have Norway to look forward to not have to pack up our bags and leave the ship at the same time as everyone else. We settled in for a whole new adventure, and I will have videos about Norway on my channel soon. Hi there, it's Kelly. I just wanted to jump in here before the video ends and say thank you to anyone who's left watching the end of my video. I really appreciate you coming along for our Transatlantic. I just want to give a personal note here. This was a very meaningful cruise for me. I traveled with my mother, my aunt, my sister, and nephew. And my mother and aunt have had significant health challenges over the last few years, and this trip was a really big deal for us to all go on. It took a lot of planning and coordination, but we got so excited during the planning process. The Queen Mary 2 was a bucket list item for some of the members in my family. The Transatlantic Crossing was a bucket item, and the trip to Norway was also a bucket list item. And for myself as well, I've always wanted to see Norway. As I said, this cruise was especially meaningful to spend this much time with my mother and my aunt and my family and really just relax and enjoy the ship. There's nothing else to do on a transatlantic except relax and enjoy the ship. And we couldn't have chosen a better ship for our adventure. It was a very big adventure, and the Queen Mary 2 did not disappoint in any way. Now, one more thing I want to say before we wrap up. I realize I never did address the dress code in this video, and I said at the beginning I would. So let me just give you a few little pieces of advice about the dress code. We thought it was going to be a big deal. We got kind of anxious about it. We watched a lot of YouTube videos giving guidance on the dress code on the Queen Mary 2. We got focused on gala nights and what to wear there. And let me just say, we did overthink it a little bit. In hindsight, we didn't know. It was our first time on Queen Mary 2. We wanted to make sure we fit in and that we were dressed appropriately, and we were fine. We all brought nice outfits, sparkly tops, dress slacks, skirts and sweaters, some dresses, all kinds of things like that. Nothing extra fancy, nothing extra special, or nothing really expensive either. Now for gala nights, we had the Roaring 20s. This was a lot of fun. I wore a skirt, a black top, and then we all bought accessories right off of Amazon, little headpieces, shawls, gloves, different things like that to kind of create a 1920s feel. We fit right in, and the gala night was a lot of fun, mostly because we enjoyed seeing what everybody else was wearing. A lot of people go all out, and they do wear very special outfits, some expensive outfits, some elaborate outfits. And it's a lot of fun to see people walking around the ship all dressed up in special clothes. It's also a lot of fun to go to the Queen's room and see the dancing on a gala night. If you go on the Queen Mary 2, if you're not a dancer, make sure you go watch a few times because the people on the dance floor can really dance, and it's a lot of fun to see them go. Our other gala night was red and gold. We just wore variations on red and gold and dressed up nicely, and we were fine. So if you're concerned about the dress code on the Queen Mary 2, I would say don't worry about it too much. Bring your nice clothes. Don't force yourself to buy clothes you really don't like, you don't feel comfortable spending the evening in. Buy some nice clothes, bring what you already have. Just dress nicely and you'll be fine. And as for the gala nights, maybe get into it. Go ahead and buy a few accessories, buy a few little extra things like we did, and just really enjoy. In any case, I hope this was a helpful video if you're considering a transatlantic on the Queen Mary 2. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy your next cruise. Bye-bye.